Hi folks, welcome back. This is hole number 3. This can be somewhat a tricky hole. It can be a hard hole to get an eagle on. There's 2 different ways to play this hole. You can play it either the left-hand side of the water or the right-hand side of the water. I was playing the right-hand side of the water before, but when you do that, there's a small, narrow fairway. And if you don't quite hit the center part of that fairway, you're not going to get a good bounce, and it's going to drift off to either the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Another thing to remember, the beginning part of that fairway there's a bump right in the center of it. So you have to be careful because that bump can shoot your ball over to the left or it can shoot your ball over to the right. So you can overpower it a little bit to miss that bump. But I found that shot to be a pretty risky shot. And if you miss that first shot, you're going to either go in the rough or go in the sand trap, and you're not going to be able to make the green on your second shot. So, and that could put you in jeopardy of even getting a par on that hole. So rather than taking the risk, I discovered a new way to play this hole. I went to the left-hand side of the fairway. It was basically the first time I played this hole that way. But I figured if I go that way, I got a lot easier chance to get the birdie and a rare chance to get the eagle, but still always a chance. So I took the left-hand side. And to take the left-hand side, if you're using an extra mile 5 or lower, what you're going to need here is a power ball. And I believe the power ball would have to be a power 3 ball. You might get away with the power 2, but I would use a power 3 ball or above if you have an extra mile 5 or lower. If you have an extra mile 6, I think you can get away with a quasar, a power ball 1. And what you want to do if you're using an extra mile 6 and a quasar, say for example, you put your target as far as you can, and line up your target so it's the center part of that fairway. You'll see as far as your target will go. Center part of that fairway, and you give it full right spin, and you give it a full curl on your club, and you give it full top spin. And you make sure you hit perfect, and that'll set you up nicely for a second shot here. If you have an extra mile 5 or lower, pretty much do the same thing. You use a Titan, like I suggested there, and you put the target. That'll put your target as the same place an extra mile 6 and a quasar would, right in the center part of that fairway. And you give it full top, a full right spin, and you give it full curl. And if you're using an extra mile 7, I would not give it full curl, because you have now you have more curl on an extra mile 7 than you have in an extra mile 6. So I would give it 1/2 to 3/4 curl, because if you give it too much, you're going to go into the rough. So you pretty much want the same amount of curl that you would have on an extra mile 6 if you're using an extra mile 7. So if you're using an extra mile 7, you basically do everything the same, but just don't put so much curl when you go to curl your club. So here's a look at it. I'm not sure what I used here. I think it was an extra mile 6. It's been over a week since I played this tournament. So yes, it was a quasar. It was an extra mile 6, and you can see my target was in the center part of that fairway, as far as you can go. Full top spin, full left spin, and you adjust the wind accordingly, 3.9. I believe it's 2.5 per ring on an extra mile 6, roughly. And there you can see it'll bounce you pretty much where the shadow is of this tree all the time. Sometimes you're a little bit past, sometimes you're not. That'll set you up really nice for a second shot. Nice clear shot at the green. Now on the second shot, it's hard to explain what I did here. I would like to get a picture of these holes and draw them out someday, but I don't quite have the equipment to do that. So I'll try to explain it as much as I can. On the second shot here, what I do is use a club that has a lot of backspin. So a backbone, if it's leveled up quite a bit, or what is that other club here? I can't think of it right now. I believe I used it here. Extra, what is that club I used? It has a lot of backspin. We'll show you. We'll get on to it here, and I'll explain what I did. I actually made the eagle here with this club. What was it? Sometimes I draw a blank. That's right. It's Saturn. It's the Saturn. Okay, what I did with this club, I'll just keep playing the replay here, try to explain it the best way I can, is I lined up this target so the red part of the target, outer edge of the red part of this target was touching the rough. So wherever they set the target, just move it to the left. You might have to move it a little bit forward, a little bit backwards. Just move it to the left from wherever they put the target. Of course, they'll put the target somewhere in the water. So you just move it to the left and you move it so the red part of the target. This way, if you hit a great shot, you'll be fine. Right? And if you hit a perfect shot, you're fine. Great to the right, you're fine. Great to the left, you'll be fine. And what I did is, you look at the ball guide. And the ball guide is the first, okay, so where your target hits there will be your first bounce. The second bounce will be where the ball guide shows you on the green there. So the second bounce, what I did was I had it so that it was the front part of the green, roughly where the fringe and the rough join together in around that range, or the fringe in the green, fringe in the rough. I believe it's fringe in the rough. And meet there. That's where you want the bounce to be. And you will see your ball guide move a little left, a little right. You'll see it tweak there. When you see it go to the right a little bit, you stop it right there. And you have full top, full back. You can see what happens here. Actually, I didn't give it full back on here. Now that I remember. This is a, what is this? This is a Saturn 8. So what I did was I give it a bar and a half less than full back. A bar and a half less than full back. And the red part of the target, like I said, touching the rough, a bar and a half less than full back and full right.
Great shot.
And you curl it like I did with the ball here all the way to the right. And I graded it to the left on purpose. See my curl with the ball? And I graded it to the left on purpose.
Great shot.
Because I took this shot with another account, and I was very close, and I figured if I graded it to the left, it should set me up. Sure enough, it did. So, I hope that explains it a bit. I know it's very hard to understand my instructions, but it's hard to explain it too unless I have actually a picture and showing you guys step by step. So, thanks for watching, folks. I hope I wasn't too confused in there. Have a good one, and I look forward to seeing you on hole number 4.